What's up, Mavs fans? Welcome to MFL Only. I'm your host, Berkan, and this is our very first podcast. Now, fun fact, this was originally Inside the Paint, and then it changed to Inside the AAC, but honestly, MFFL Only seemed more appropriate because that's the Twitter handle, so we had this whole first season of running this account, and it just made sense. We got some news for you guys. We got some rumors. We got some thoughts on the off season that was already one for the history books with us fans in a very interesting way. And I'll get more to that in just a second. I just wanted to say real quick, thank you guys for listening. It's going to be a great series. If you haven't followed MFFL Only on Twitter, please do so. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so. If you're watching this, go ahead and hit the like button. If you're listening to this, hit the subscribe button. Do that on YouTube as well. Pretty sure I said that. But anyway, let's get down to it. First, the hottest Mavs news kind of out there right now is Andre Iguodala. That's some news right there that's been coming in by Mike Fisher, who's reporting that the Mavs, if I look on Twitter here, just right, it's reporting that the Mavs are talking of a trade with Courtney Lee for Andre Iguodala. I don't think that's a bad thing whatsoever. I think it's a good trade. Now listen, I know Andre Iguodala seems like he's a little bit washed. He's been great in playoffs. He's been effective. He did a great job in the NBA Finals guarding Kawhi Leonard. And he still, I think, has a good 3 to 5 years left. Maybe that's a little optimistic, but I think he does have a good 3 to 5 years left. But in the season, recently in the past years, he hasn't really done much coming off the bench for Golden State. Now, I will say, I do truly think that this is partly because, let's be honest, Golden State kind of coasts in the season. They did let Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson each have their individual games, sometimes contributing all together, but they all kind of had their own moments. And everyone else just kind of was along for the ride. I think in 2015, when he first I think he may have first started coming off the bench for 2014, or in the 2014 season. But in 2015, when he first won the Finals MVP, their first championship season, he was pivotal off the bench. I mean, Steve Kerr went on talking about how the key was to have a star like that come off the bench was huge for them. So it's clear that he is a great team guy, and for this Dallas culture, I think it's a great thing to have a veteran guy in the locker room like him, who was a star, who did choose to come off the bench, was rewarded with a Finals MVP. I think that's great. And I think playing with Kevin Durant, playing with Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, Draymond Green, I think that's some good experience when you have young stars like Luka Doncic and Kristaps Porzingis, because you want somebody who's kind of played with stars who are pretty much as big as you can get in the NBA to help kind of guide them and be like, hey, I've seen what these guys could do. Let me tell you how it's done, and let me put you on the right path. So I think he's a great guy. Even if he doesn't do much, if he comes off the bench, averages 5 points a game, it's not going to bother me. I think that's more of a realistic thing for him to be a good locker room guy, especially since it seems like as of right now, Dallas is going to lose Devin Harris, or at least they're not offering anything to Devin Harris. I personally think we should have kept him until he retired, but we can have 4 stints with him. It's fine. Andre Iguodala, I think, would be a good piece for the Mavericks. Also, it looks like Mike Fisher here on Twitter is talking Kelly Olynyk, Covington. Kelly Olynyk is interesting because a lot of Mavs fans are kind of up in arms about this. I don't know why he is a front office target, or why they would actively go for him. I think he's more of a consolation prize, more of like a just kind of crumbs to the cake, to a better cake, or I don't know if that's even a metaphor. I don't think it is. But Kelly Olynyk is not a guy I'd throw in pieces for specifically. I think he's just a guy that gets thrown in there. Now, do I think it'd be the worst thing in the world if he was on the Mavericks? No. I think he has good moments. I think he likes playoff moments, which Mavericks are destined to be a playoff team, and we need guys who are willing to compete and not going to shy away from the moment. He's proven that he's not going to shy away from the moment, I think. Maybe had some controversial moments with Kevin Love. Hopefully that wasn't intentional. Kind of looked intentional. But anyway, my point is, I don't think it'd be terrible to have him. I just hope that we really aren't putting all our eggs in one basket for him. Now, someone the Mavs did sign is DeLon Wright. I actually really like him. I've been studying his highlight reels, his stats all morning. I do really like him. He's a guy who's going to attack to the paint. He'll come from the right. He'll have a great finish from the left. More realistically, I think he's going to come from the left and finish to the right. But my point is he has a great scoop. So he has a good wingspan. So he's going to be on one side of the basket but be able to finish comfortably on the other side, which is great. And he is not afraid to attack. I mean, his highlight reel is pretty much just attacking. Now, I can't lie to you and say I've watched him all season long. I know exactly how he plays because I don't. I'm literally going off YouTube highlight reels because that's all I have. In his 26 games with the Memphis Grizzlies, he's averaged 12 points a game, shot around 43% from 3, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. I mean, he's a good guy. He's a good complimentary guy to have with Luka, I think. So this whole report that the Mavs are probably going to start him with Luka and that be the backcourt, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. I don't think you can have too many playmakers. I don't know if that's worked for the Mavs in the past few years. I think we really wanted that to be the case with Dennis Smith Jr. last season before we traded him. But, I mean, it comes with mindset. I don't know DeLon Wright. I don't know if he's a guy who's going to be able to kind of buy into the 2 point guards, 2 guys handling. Because he's still young. He's still a guy who's trying to find a place in this league, I think. So hopefully he's more receptive to having this kind of role with the Mavericks because Luka's obviously going to be the point guy along with KP. And speaking of Luka and KP, I have some expectations for them. And I have some predictions. So I'm a contributor for the Smoking Cuban, if you've checked it out. If you haven't, go check them out. I'm new, very new for them. I've only had one article submitted. I don't know if it's going to get posted either because, to be honest, it was right before free agency started, then things changed and it kind of ruined it. Its title was the way too early prediction of the 2019-20 season. And really the thing that remains relevant is that I think Luka and KP are going to have a great season. And I think it's realistic to expect one of them to become a member of the All-Star team, not both of them, just one. And the reason I say that is because I think either Luka's going to get in on a starter vote or KP's going to get put in as a coach vote as a reserve. Or the only really scenario they can both be in it is if there's an injury situation with a different all-star reserve, and I really don't want that to be the case, so I'm not going to wish that or put that out there any more than I just did. But that's my all-star expectations for them. League or season expectations, I expect them together to be averaging at least 50-plus together. I know that's a little bit high. That means one of them's at least going to average over 25 points a game. I really do think that's realistic for Kristaps Porzingis. I do see him as a guy who can average 28 points a game. I know that may sound insane right now because we haven't seen him play in it's going to be 21 months when he does play. I realize that's a long time. I think he's the guy to do it. I trust that he has been working when he's not been getting into trouble, which, by the way, I don't think the bar fight was entirely his fault. I believe it. He was mugged. What can he do? That's going to make the news, of course. But I don't think this space is really going to affect him that much. Maybe in the first 10 games we'll see some rust. But beyond that, I think he's going to be just fine. And so I'm not worried about a Luka-KP duo, which is why I also think it's ridiculous that the rest of the league seems to doubt it. USA Today, I think, posted a list of the top duos in the league, and they had Indiana on that list of Oladipo and Brogdon or someone. I can't remember who was on that list, but Luka and KP weren't even on that list. That's insanity to me. Like, insane. How could you not have them on that list? You at least have them as an honorable mention. I mean, maybe they were, and I just missed it, but I didn't see Luka and KP anywhere. I definitely didn't see them before Indiana, so that's insane to me. But look, they're young guys. They're going to put respect in their names this season. I guarantee it. They're going to have a good year together, averaging at least 50 combined, which is good. And also the Mavs team expectations. I know, and this kind of leads me into the Mavs offseason. I understand it's incredibly easy to think this was a huge loss. And I get it. I was frustrated. A lot of us were frustrated. It wasn't exactly what we wanted. It wasn't anything what we wanted. We all wanted at least a chance at a big fish. We all wanted Patrick Beverley to come in. We all wanted Danny Green to come in. We all wanted those types of players on our team, signing them, building the pieces to become a contender in a league that's now a 2-star balanced league, which, by the way, we do have those 2 stars. It could be a lot worse, so I don't think we're totally off here. The big thing was signing Kristaps Porzingis. Now, I myself was also very, very upset when after the first 48 hours of free agency. I was so mad. I wanted them to get someone big because I didn't think Porzingis was enough. Absolutely, Porzingis is enough. I mean, like I said, it's a balanced league. These top teams all have 2 stars. It's a matter of which duo is better than the other. But honestly, I think the Mavericks duo is better than Denver. We don't have the pieces that Denver does beyond that, but I do think they can compete with Denver. I think they can compete with a lot of teams with this duo. Porzingis was a huge signing for us, and it's going to do a lot of good for our team. And yes, getting guys like Seth Curry may not have been exactly what you wanted, but it's a good signing. Seth Curry is going to find his shot with Dallas. Portland, he wasn't terrible in Portland, and Portland wasn't arguably a good fit for him. Dallas is a perfect fit, and we saw that in his last stint with us when he was actually playing and not hurt, 2017 through 2018. We saw what he can do, and I'm fully confident in his ability to get hot, to shoot consistently, to be the type of player we need him to be, whether it's off the bench or as a starter. Wherever he is, I think he's going to contribute, and it's going to be meaningful minutes from him and meaningful contributions. The Mavs are not that far off. I do think they'll be fighting for the 8th and 7th seed. Yes, I do think so. That's not saying we suck. It's just that the West is loaded, and if you look at the list of duos, most of them are in the West. That's just how it is. So do I think Mavs fans should be angry about the front office or angry towards the front office? No, I don't. I think they did what they were supposed to do. They tried making trades work, which is what we're good at, and they're still trying. We don't know if this Heat Westbrook trade's how it's gonna go down. We don't know who the Mavs are gonna get from it. I do think the Mavs will be involved. I don't know what's gonna come from it, but they will be involved. So we'll see how they do there. But I would not get the pitchforks. I will not start fires. The front office is doing just fine. They got the guy we need to be successful later down the road. If you thought the Mavs were going to be successful this year, I'm sorry. I did not. I originally admit I did think they were going to be successful with free agency signings, but it was more realistic to think that in a couple years we'll be right there. I mean, Danny Green even said himself he wanted to put on the Mavs uniform. He wanted to come here, but the Mavs are about 2 to 3 years away from really being a contender. That is just fine. We can wait. It could be a lot worse. Our last championship was in 2011. All right? Look at the New York Knicks. It could be a lot worse, and we will get there. I promise you we'll get there. So don't freak out about the Mavs off-season just yet. Now, new Mavs jerseys. I'm wearing this jersey in honor of apparently them going away. There's been a lot of images out there of what the Mavs new jerseys will look like, and I'll admit, at first I was a little bit concerned. I didn't know why they would go for those jerseys in particular. They didn't seem, to me, that great. I was hoping for a complete rebrand, honestly. I think with Dirk retiring, I wanted that era to be its own thing, and I wanted to rebrand new home jerseys, new away jerseys, or new statement jerseys, skyline jerseys, whatever they're actually called. They'll always be home away alternate to me. But I wanted a complete rebrand, and so when I saw that we got a new jersey, I was hopeful for that rebrand. But when I saw it was just replacing the skyline jersey, and it to me kind of took a few steps back, I was a little bit worried there. But honestly, they're playing. It's not a big deal. It's not much different than a lot of teams. It literally just says Mavericks on it. I can't remember what color it is. I think it was like blue, light blue, something like that. It looks like the Summer League jerseys, and it just says Mavericks on it, 5 miles, Nike swoosh. That's it. No design there. Pretty simple. Maybe these are transition jerseys. Maybe we'll only get them for one season because I do think a rebrand will come. So I'll remain hopeful for that. That's really all I got today. It's a shorter podcast. I can talk for a long time about the Mavericks, but as we're in the off season, I think these are just going to be shorter until we get some games to dissect. I just wanted to get this out there. I'm really thankful For everyone who's been following MFF only on Twitter so far, we're at like 542 followers, which I think is awesome. And I'm super appreciative of that. And I think you guys are all great, hysterical as well. And it's official. Dorian Finney-Smith has signed with the Mavs. So awesome. Congratulations to him. He's actually a good piece. I'll continue going on talking about him because I see that news now. He's a good piece. I think he works hard. I think he goes to find his spot on the court. I think his shooting has improved. At first, last season, it seemed like he was an automatic bucket. Then it kind of declined a lot. But I think he's a guy who's going to keep working on it, and he has a lot of potential. He just needs to keep at it. He needs to stay aggressive. He needs to learn that if Dorian Finney-Smith can develop a pump fake step back, that's gonna be a pretty cool skill set for him. And also, he just needs to attack the basket and be more aggressive. And I think having a guy like DeLon Wright is gonna help that for him, because DeLon Wright, like I said, he seems exceptional when it comes to attacking the basket. So that's awesome right there. But anyway, thank you guys so much for following. Thank you guys for listening. If you thought this podcast was a little bit rusty, it wasn't its best, it's the first one. I'm going to continue to get better. That's my thought on it. Something I've always wanted to do, so I'm excited to do it. And yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, again, don't forget to like, subscribe, and thank you guys again so much. I will talk to you guys next time.